Hello. We are going to be talking about fighting homelessness. This is the growing issue of homelessness and unsheltered community members with chronic mental health issues in healthcare in the United States. The peace-related social issue that we will be discussing is the ongoing issue of homelessness in Hawaii and how the Hawaii Home Project seeks to provide a sense of stability in one aspect of one aspect of homeless people's lives by providing free health care. I will also discuss the effects of mental health and how it pertains to the global homeless population as a whole. So key terms and definitions: homelessness. It's basically defined as, but not limited to, an issue on a national or global level in which a person, adult or a child, does not have a fixed nighttime residence. Second, we have PACE. According to the University of Hawaii at Manoa, PACE stands for Peace and Conflict Education. Mental illness. Defined by the American Psychiatric Association, mental illness is a health condition involving changes in emotion, thinking, or behavior, which are accompanied with depression and problems functioning in society. Substance abuse. Substance abuse is defined as an overindulgence on an addictive substance, especially alcohol or drugs. Addiction is also defined as the fact or condition of being addicted to a particular substance, thing, or activity. Indirect peace work. These are occupations that focus on ending indirect structural violence through conflict transformation and creating positive peace. Nonviolent strategies. These are plans, policies, and schemas that guide decisions about which methods to use in conducting protests, resistances, and interventions. Peace through peace. A foreign policy strategy of relying on nonviolent action such as diplomacy and negotiation as a principal means for creating peace. Principled nonviolence. This adopts an expansive interpretation of the ethic of reciprocity, viewing nonviolent action as a moral absolute when practical means. It's also often associated with religious faith. Personal peace is a state of psychological well-being. So the significance of this project, personally, I believe that the Hawaii Home Project is important because it offers a helping hand to those who have not had a sturdy foundation to grow from. A lot of homeless people, it has been found that a lot of homeless people come from traumatic backgrounds, or they had some type of trauma in their life where it kind of led them to become homeless. From a social standpoint, I believe that homelessness should bother more people than it does. And by bother, I sort of mean that it should make others kind of feel uncomfortable, like letting one of those humans, like our fellow human, just kind of sit and suffer on the street like that. So the Hawaii Home Project helps in the social aspect because students and doctors get to connect with others in their community. This organization also teaches empathy, compassion, and useful communication skills from the doctor to the patient level. Historical and statistical analysis. So homelessness kind of began in the 1960s when the Community Mental Health Centers Act came out. Basically, psychiatric evaluations and kind of all things for mental health were institutionalized. So people would live in institutions or they would go to institutions for mental health. And basically what that did was, instead of putting all these people in institutions, it kind of put them back in their communities. So unfortunately, none of those facilities were built as promised, and so a lot of people ended up not getting the mental help that they needed. And then when the economic recession hit, a lot of people became homeless because they weren't getting the mental health, they weren't getting the mental health care that they needed. And there was war and there was a lot of things that were playing into it, but a lot of it started with the Mental Health Centers Act. So the Hawaii Home Project was founded in August 2005, and clinics are ran by the John A. Burns School of Medicine students, and they offer basic medical care alongside physicians to the sheltered and unsheltered homeless population in Oahu. So on a micro level, it hurts to see other people struggling and battling illnesses when, like, you know that they need help, but they can't get the help that they need. It also doesn't sit right with a person because it is a huge problem in the United States, and it seems like there's nothing being done to fix that problem. As far as the meso level of analysis, it sort of creates unsafe environments in public areas. Oftentimes, homeless people are on drugs and they're hallucinating and screaming and trying to fight, and it kind of creates an unsafe environment. And not to mention, like, drugs are being used, so there's uncovered needles. And in fact, San Diego had an outbreak, I believe it was in 2018, of HIV because homeless people were starting to share needles. So so that poses a health threat in the community, but it also can help the society in a helpful way because homeless shelters can be constructed and it can actually open up job opportunities and even volunteering opportunities. On the macro level, it becomes a little costly to taxpayers because a lot of the times we will have to clean up homeless encampments, or say that a homeless person gets an infection, or they were on drugs and hurt themselves or something and they have to go to the hospital. Well, they have no means of paying that medical bill, so now it's the taxpayer's job to pay that bill. So from the Home Project volunteer interviews, I was able to interview two ladies. One of them's name was Lauren and the other one's name was Vivian. The questions that I asked them was, what is the Hawaii Home Project to you? How much time were you able to spend with the organization? What roles did you take on during this time? What lessons or takeaways did this organization provide for you? And has there been any changes to operations since COVID-19? If so, how? Both of these ladies volunteered when they were in med school, so it wasn't a long time ago, but it was a couple years ago that they were working with this organization. But basically what I got from them was that the Home Project provided a great opportunity to serve the community. A lot of their fondest and most fulfilling days were talking to those in the community and giving back. Vivian even claims that she spent 5+ years with them and it truly was one of the best experiences of her life. So again, like I said, Vivian spent about 5 years. Lauren wasn't able to tell me how many years she spent with them, but Vivian did take on a few different roles. As an undergraduate volunteer, she was to perform intake for all of the patients at their makeshift front desk. She gathered information including their names, ages, and they got to talk story with each other as they waited for care. During her first year of medical school, her job was to take vital signs and gather the chief complaint. As a second-year medical student, she became manager of the home clinic and oversaw basic management of the Kaka'ako Clinic. In her third year, she became student physicians that performed the full history gathering and physical exam for the patients. It was their responsibility to diagnose and treat the patients under the supervision of their attending physicians. And Dr. Lauren was able to spend a lot of time in the home clinics. She said that she was an event and manager. Sorry. Okay, so for lessons or takeaways that this organization provided for them, Dr. Lauren claimed that the organization is a humbling experience. Even though she was making a negative income, she was in lots of debt from med school. Um, there was always something to study. It was refreshing to just spend time talking to people of all ages and backgrounds in the community. Hearing their stories promoted a sense of empathy, and it made her realize that although she didn't have extensive medical knowledge or skills at the time, just listening and showing that I care was meaningful. Sorry, that she cared was meaningful to them. Dr. Vivian said that she developed her love for primary care and being able to build relationships with patients and their families along the way. She learned that she enjoyed providing care for the whole family unit and getting to know them well enough to better understand their barriers to care. She was actually able to spend multiple holidays, like Halloween, Thanksgiving, and Christmases with the Home Project family and with the homeless people that they actually treated. And she also said that this experience inspired her to pursue a career in family medicine, and she looks forward to building more of those relationships with her patients in the future. Unfortunately, both of them were not able to give us any information as to how they're operating since COVID-19. I wasn't able to find any information on their website or on their Facebook or anything, so I'm kind of lacking in that. In conclusion, I believe that the Hawaii Home Project serves as a PACE-related topic because the healthcare providers are fighting for the homeless people who sometimes do not have the ability to protect or speak up for themselves. These healthcare providers give them the sense of secureness that they have always been lacking, just as Mahatma Gandhi and Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. did. Here are my credits and my works cited. Thank you for taking the time to watch this.